Break the Ice candidate forum meeting of the Park County Republican Central Committee tonight. We've scheduled a total with this one of 7 across the county. We're doing Lake George, Hartselle, and Guffey as a single event, and then we're doing 2 different events in both the Bailey area and then 2 in the Fairfield area. So we're trying to get this out, and really what this is for candidates to absorb what it's like to be in front of an nice audience. Now, not all the time do folks in elected office have a nice audience. So with that in mind, this is also a test of, is this something I really want to do? So having been involved in this since about 1982 as a candidate or some kind of person in the Republican Party, they somewhat stay the same and as well change with time. So really what this is for is, number one, thank all of those who are in elected office now. Because it is not easy to stand in front of this crowd or a larger crowd and say, vote for me, I'm good, right? But we have some incumbents that are with us tonight, and I want to introduce Amy Mitchell, our first vice chair of the Central Committees. We're the staff tonight. We wanted to make sure all of you who wanted one have a card that you can ask questions of candidates. But we wanted to notice those of our elected officials that do not have a primary chair. So I want to introduce David Kentz, our coroner, Mel Castle, our county clerk, Amy Flint, our county treasurer. So if you 3 would come up here to this table, I will get another chair.
Did you forget about me, Dave?
We're going to get them on the recorder. So what we're doing is we're recording this really for posterity as well as so the folks can look back at this and then learn. Okay? So really what it is just to give them practical experience in a live audience. So we have 2 microphones that are going to be picked up on the recorder. And so what we're going to allow them to do, and all the people who we get to, we wanted to let them go first because we don't, and then allow you to ask questions. And then if you want to ask them from the floor, it's okay. You know, it's pretty informal in this. But let them give their 3 minutes. We're going to give each of the opening statements 3 minutes per candidate. And then Commissioner Mitchell will go through the rules on those if we have contested ones, if we don't. This is pretty informal. The whole goal is get them experience, let them have some practice, let you get your answers to your questions. Seems like a fair deal? We're scheduled to go 6:30 to 8:30. If we go that long, great. If we don't, we'll make efficient use of your time. We appreciate you coming. Any questions so far? Okay, I'm just going to let them choose whoever wants to go first, and you have your 3 minutes or whatever you want.
Oh, you're all looking at me.
I will yield to whoever wants to go.
Okay. Well, since I have a script in front of me, I'll go first.
Okay.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Mel Castle, and I have proudly served as your clerk and recorder since October 22. Since taking office, one of my top priorities has been making every member of my staff, making sure they have the tools and the training to support them to succeed in their position. As you know, our motor vehicle department underwent a major revamp, and some of the service has been slow. The staff have done their best to keep the services moving, and they have asked for additional assistance when needed, and we thank you for your patience when you've waited in line. The recording department, we process a lot of records, a wide variety of important documents, including deeds, marriage certificates, death certificates, mining claims, and many other documents. Elections are maybe the most important responsibility of our office, and it's constantly evolving. The rules and the statutes change regularly and stay current. Those changes is truly a full-time job. Election law must be followed exactly as written. There is no room for bending, breaking, or misinterpreting those statutes. We are fortunate to have dedicated election judges who assist with the process, including verifying signatures, verifying the ballots, scanning the ballots, carrying out more other important duties. If you're ever interested, please come and observe. I encourage you to come and observe the process firsthand to see the care and the integrity that goes into every election. I am really proud of the feedback that I've gotten from the public, how the office is run and the staff are helpful, and that means a great deal to me. And I thank you for your continued support.
Thank you.
I don't like talking.
All right, Dave looks at me. So
If you went to, it's up to you.
I'm Amy Flint. I'm the current treasurer and public trustee. Have been for the last 3 years and looking to spend the next 4 years working on improving our department as we might need to. Public education is one of my goals for the next 4 years. Share with the community what we do, because a lot of people don't know, what does the treasurer do? What does the public trustee do? Who are they and what do they do? It's 4 of us. Myself, our chief deputy, Kathleen Wilson, public speaking. Kathleen Wilson is our chief deputy. She's been there for 7 years and does a great job. My biggest challenge is getting her to take a vacation. She's doing that in June. First time in 3 years. Then we have 2 deputies out front who do a lot of the public-facing work, answering phone calls, processing tax payments, taking the department deposits, because we do the banking as the treasurer. As treasurer, we also invest the money that comes in that we might have a little extra. And that's going very well. Yesterday, we just talked to our investment advisor and he reinvested money. That was $1 million at 1%, I think we were carrying it for the last 5 years. And we're at 4.10. So, yay, our money is making money. Public trustee mainly handles foreclosures and release of deeds of trust, which means somebody pays off their mortgage, the mortgage company sends in the release of that deed of trust, and we release that, make sure it's all correct and put together, and then we send it up to the recorder's office, and Mel's staff takes care of that. Treasurer's deeds. Treasurer's deeds are what is your title to your property. And if we have a tax lien sales, which if people don't pay their taxes, we send them to a sale auction that an investor pays those taxes and keeps our county whole with the money paid for all the taxes, hopefully. This year, we had 92 that didn't get paid, so the county has to make that whole. But treasurer's deeds are when somebody's held some taxes, a lit parcel that hasn't been paid for 3 years, they can apply for that treasurer's deed. Treasurer's deeds are being applied for. 155 applications right now for myself to process. It's a challenge. So that's what we do, and that's what we've been doing. If you guys have any questions, I'm glad to answer.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. David Kent's our corner.
So we're supposed to get experience in front of a crowd. This is a rough group of people. I just happen to know everyone in the room, but that's, huh? Well, hold on.
We're not accustomed.
The time comes, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't know what we're going to be doing tonight with this. I'm going to make as many of these as I can, but with the last minute scheduling, unfortunately, there's a lot of them I'm not going to be able to attend due to other commitments I had made. But I'll be here when I can, and I hold a lot of public meetings. We have a lot of interaction with the public because we want everyone to know what we do and why we're doing it. So you can go on our website, you can see our annual reports, you can see what we're doing, what we're up to. We try to make that open. And we also open the door for the citizens to call in when they've had a death in their family that they just don't quite understand, whether it was here or somewhere else. And we'll try to give them some insight and get a little counseling or guidance. Most of the time, it's just a misunderstanding, or they didn't understand it, or they're the secondary who heard the coroner talk to them, their sister, and now they don't quite understand the sister didn't translate it right, or something like that. So we do a lot of that, a lot of public outreach for that. In our office, I'm extremely proud of my people. I have the best people in the county. I will put them up against any people in the county, hands down. We're fortunate enough to have one of my volunteers here tonight. And our volunteer corps are amazing people. They're in every corner of this county. They do so much work for this county and for the families. And so we do a lot with a little and help support those survivors. And unfortunately, over the years, I've been here long enough that I go a lot of places. And I interact with a lot of people that we've worked to death in their family or in their friend group. And we have conversations years later. Mothers that 13 years down the line are talking to me about how that was hard, but how they got through their life. And the difficulties of seeing me because they remember their child. But they then since learned they could ask questions later on. So it's a different thing being a coroner in a very small community for as long as I have. I'm asking for support for my 5th term. Never imagined I would be doing this long, but we have accomplished a lot, and my team is amazing. We have gone for the highest accreditation and credentials standard that you can do. That's what I aim for. So when people are asking, well, how's a coroner certified? There's 3 different levels. There's the state of Colorado level, which is a joke, as I'm sure Mr. Rhodes can attest to. It takes almost nothing to get the state of Colorado level. But then there's the ABMDI level, which is the national level. And that is what my minimum requirement is for people to work for my office. And then there's board certification. And so in my office, I am board certified, which is the highest level of death investigator certified in the country. But everyone else is nationally certified. So we keep a high standard. We have kept our training standards high, and we accomplished full accreditation in 2015 for the first time. We were the smallest fully accredited coroner's office in the world for a decade. We were just edged out because a county a few thousand people smaller than us just got accredited in Wyoming and took that title. But we are glad to see that. I've been lecturing and talking to people around the country. I want small offices to do the right thing. Often the excuse is, well, we're little, so we can't do it. That's not true. And so you can find a way to make these things happen. So we are proud that we don't have that title anymore. We're still fully accredited, but that someone else smaller than us has done it. And it's building. It's all over the place. There's like 70 or 80 offices around the country working on accreditation this year, in addition to what there is. So we're getting there, and we are really happy with that. We're an open door. Myself, my deputies, my volunteers, come to us when you have questions. Go to our website, take a look at everything. And this I call this my pocket office that is on me essentially 24/7. It had to be replaced last weekend and was off me for 36 hours. And the entire world apparently needed me. So during those 36 hours while it was being redone. But we try to keep a communication. You call our office 24 hours a day. It rolls to our cell phones, whoever the primary on-call is, so that we can talk to you. And a lot of times that's family at 2 a.m. They cannot sleep. There is something they need to know, and we will talk to them. And that's, of course, cell signal around here and things like that happen. But the general gist is we answer all the time to try to talk to people as much as we possibly can. Thank you guys for being here, and if you have any questions, as always, you can always ask.
So how many terms?
I'm running for my 5th.
Running for your 5th. Okay. 5 times 4 is 20. David is the senior elected official in terms of consecutive years in Park County. So minus a surveyor who's going on year 38. No, he's going on year 34. He will go for year 38 and we'll match another guy that's here. But house per se. You're our lead, so.
Long in the tooth, is that what you're telling me?
That's what I'm telling you. So knowing that, and we have both Amy and Mel came in a cycle ago. We came in the class of 22. And so they're in their first term. So the standard question I would ask everyone, but it doesn't apply to you guys, is what in the world caused you to make that decision? But you've already answered that. You've already been there for one term, so we can't say that. You're much longer. So what would you like to see, you would like to accomplish in the next 4 years?
Well, elections are changing constantly, and I want to make sure that we keep the integrity of the elections and keep them safe, and so that you all know that your vote is important and it will be counted, and we will take care of it with everything that we have. I want to make sure that the staff are able to get the education that they can, that is available to them so that they can succeed. And I like hearing when people have come into the office and said, hey, I had a really good experience. And I would like that to continue for the next 4 years, 8 years, whatever. But I would like to leave a legacy that is good when I'm done.
Okay, thanks. What do you think, Amy? What would you like to accomplish?
A few things. Education, as I said earlier, public education, so that we can be more transparent to the community so they know what we do. So we don't get so many phone calls about what does this mean, or where do I find this, or something like that. Make it easier for access for information. I would love to change how many return mails we get.
Oh my God, yes. Yes.
I don't know how I can, USPS is a big part of it, but maybe getting more e-notices out there and electronic communications used so that we got 2,500 pieces of mail this last 2-3 months, and it's just crazy. But
and we pay for that.
We do.
Postage, yeah.
And people still want their notices. So that's our biggest challenge. Those are 2 goals.
Okay, good enough. David?
So some we've worked on hard and done fairly well for a long time, and some I want to expand is the training. And because the forensic sciences are always changing. If you learned something in the forensic sciences 20 years ago, throw it out the window for the most part. There's a couple things, but most of it is changed. The sciences are always changing. They're always adapting. There's things going on. And so you have to keep up with that training and keep up to that standard. And so that's something we want to continue. And one of those things that we do is we are partnered. We're the only like office partnered with a university in the country. We're partnered with Colorado Mesa University for the High Altitude Forensic Research Facility. And so that is an undisclosed location here in Park County. We have been partnered with them since 2018, and we do live in-time research on human decomposition and the conditions of our altitude. We are the only one in the Rocky Mountain region considered in the mountains. The other one they have in Grand Junction is more desert. So we work very close with them. What we're looking to do, and something I want to see in the next 4 years and 8 years, is expanding those trainings. We've got 2 coming up this summer that we're working on, and more trainings to get that knowledge that has been learned out to the people, officers, coroners, anthropologists, everybody in the field that is doing investigations, get that data out to them so they see what we're learning. And that's something we really want to work on. And in addition, something that we have worked on at length is our facility is too small. We went into a 5-year temporary solution for our coroner's office almost 14 years ago. And we are still in that 5-year interim temporary solution. So what we really need to get going is in the next 4 years, we have to have a facility that meets the demands of a county that is growing and in a tourist area. So that is definitely a goal that we have on our roster. We're applying for grants. We've made it to step 2 of one of the particular federal fundings. We're working on every option that we can possibly come up with, but that's something that that it's not really a want or a desire or, oh, I'd love to have that. It's something we have to serve the citizens. We can't paint that, pretend that doesn't exist any longer. You can't have your loved one going to a facility that, oh, there's no place to put them. And no one wants to know about that, but that's the truth. And so that's one of the big goals we have as well. So thank you.
Yep. Commissioner Mitchell's working on a grant. What's the correct terminology? Direct congressional?
Yes.
Yeah, community project funding through Congress, and.
Which we did not make
which
to the
we
next
did
step.
not make, but then congressional designated spending, which is the federal Senate. We are still in the running, and we had to reduce our funding request amount, but I'm optimistic.
And
we'll
we're still in the
remain that
running
way.
for another federal grant that we've been working on for a while that still has not
Oh, yeah.
been granted. So
So whatever that guy's name is, Grant.
Paul covered it over.
Yeah, Paul covered. So I've been helping David as best I can, and anyone inclined to put a little prayer up to help it come through would be grateful.
Absolutely.
Questions from the floor? Anyone have questions for the three of them from the floor? We can just do it off where you want. Wally.
This is for David. No pun intended, but I was going to ask you how the cold storage situation is coming along. I know it's been an issue for a long time.
It's not good. We put a very temporary stopgap measure in place that is not completed. It is working, but it's not usually functional right now as we are trying to get the last parts finished of it. It was I don't care for it, but it was the best we could do at the time. And that is a very temporary situation, which if you come to our office, you'll all see out front. That is not where I want to be with this. I want to have the building built, the expansion within the facility. It is, in the grand scheme of what buildings cost nowadays, it'll be a minor expense for that, but it's still a large expenditure. But we are still in a spot right now that is not the ideal circumstances. And so we have a very, 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 very stopgap measure that cannot be our permanent solution that we're trying to work with.
Thank you. Time is not our friend.
Because
Any
we
other questions?
passed this a decade
Anybody
ago.
else? Yeah, Bill.
I have a comment more than a question. This happened about 15 years ago during the Park County Fair. We were over at, coming out of Travers, I believe. And Dave is probably one of the most well-known county officials in the county. Everybody knows who he is. But I'll never forget the time when this guy passed out in the parking lot over at Travers. And he woke up and Dave was doing EMT on him. And he thought he had a near-death experience already. He wasn't. But not only does he do quarters, so he's an EMT. So if you do pass out and you see him, when you wake up or whatever, you're not dead necessarily. You're trapped all day. Do you remember that?
I sure do, and I know exactly because his wife still works there.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes,
He's
ma'am.
also the only coroner that I know of that has participated in the Hartsel Days bed race. And then this year we can credit him for bringing up the coffin races as his inspiration. So we need to thank you for that.
Hopefully we'll raise some money. That's all we care about.
Other questions you guys have? Any closing comments you didn't say? If not, we'll turn you loose.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to bring up, we have Wally, Cindy, and Ahmet. And anybody else? Sheriff, I see Kodiak stuff there. You want to be a surrogate tonight? Had you planned on that?
Well, just wanted to apologize for not being.
I heard through the grapevine. We understand. We're just trying to make sure that we hit as many of these as we can.
We didn't know the rules that we were allowed to do that.
Yeah, I know.
We're not denying anyone. We're just putting this form on for whatever you want to do. So whatever role you want to play.
No, I would say simply that Steve had his son was having an event tonight.
We understand. We understand. We understand.
First, so that's why you cannot attend.
Yeah, we heard through the grapevine, so we
Yeah,
get it.
I'm not gonna get up and be in.
Okay, all right. I'll tell you what. So then the other three, your turn in the barrel.
One at a time?
No, all three of you.
Excellent.
So we'll do something similar. Make sure you guys have plenty of room here.
That's in the middle.
I want to thank Karen Susic. She's volunteered to record this. So what the goal here is, folks, is to make a copy of all 7 of these. We're going to post them on the PCRCC website. And that address is parkcode.gop.
ArcoGOP.com.
Thank you. So that's why you can tell what the hell I'm supposed to do. So we're going to do this and whatever it'll take. So we're breaking the ice tonight. We want to make sure of that. Again, it's not easy, especially if you've never sought elective office. And I don't think any of these 3 have decided to go spend time in the fish fair. But we are so appreciative of them stepping up to do this. So here's the reality, folks. I've been here since 1979. I got appointed to elected office in 1980. And I did that for 38 years, and then I got relieved, and I went out and became a real appraiser, and then immediately lost my mind to become a commissioner. I purposely only did that 1 term because my wife has been waiting patiently for our retirement, and I keep extending that past her deadlines. So we're going to fix that with her deadlines in 7 months. So I can tell you just personally, this particular 4 years as a commissioner was my selfish attempt to see if I could do what I think I could do. So that was my purpose, but that was why I'm also ending it. And when I'm done, I'll be there somewhere a little over 42 years. So it's been the love of my life. I've learned more in the last 3+ years than I thought was possible. And that really, I think, sums up the benefit and the investment as a county elected official. Without the 9 offices, constitutional offices at the local county level, we don't perform our services. They're set up in 9 specific constitutional offices to spread the duties of each office so that they're successful and they accomplish yearly what we're supposed to do. Every office has its own set of responsibilities. So certainly, commissioner is budget mainly, as well as legislating, as well as administrating. So we can make policy, we make ordinances, we deal with all kinds of stuff, land use, liquor licenses we just did, planning. So that's a very wide variety. But the main purpose of the commissioner is the budget process, right? We are the chief budget officer. So that's what Wally's doing. Assessor basically set the tax roll, value the property, follow the law, deal with all the craziness that's been going on. Ladies and gentlemen, we've gone through the largest change of increase in value and policy in my lifetime. And I can say that because I've seen it from the beginning, before Gallagher, before Tabor. I've actually worked with every property tax administrator in the history of this state. And one for not 6, 7 years. But that's basically what we said. Locate, identify, that. Sheriff, most important. Sheriff McGraw's here, our current sheriff. Thank you for your service. So Met is running. We also have Steve, which we mentioned before, is running. Monica Jones, our incumbent, is running. And Tyree Cook from Hartsville is running for commissioner. So we want to thank those folks for stepping up. But here's the cold hard reality, if I could speak. For all my years here in Park County, I can remember one Democrat being elected at the county courthouse level. That was one unaffiliated and one Democrat. The unaffiliated was Rick Egloff of Hartsville. So any of the Egloff family, which I know is still here, that's Ken. And Rick beat Paul Bowden, who was a Democrat at the time, out of Lake George, for the commissioner seat. That was the first unaffiliated, only unaffiliated that I can remember. The only Democrat I can remember that really was elected was Pat Montgomery back in 1986. And she lasted most of her term, and then she resigned, and her husband Hugh was appointed. He had terminal illness, and he ultimately passed. But those are the only two I can think of. So the realistic reality is, in this county, if you want to get elected, the best path is as a Republican. That I'm proud of as a lifelong Republican. But on the other hand, we always know that if the goal is to get elected and you need to be a Republican, do you participate with the Republican Party? So these folks that were up before us have done that. They've gone through the process, they've been elected, they've been basically vetted by the people. That's what we're doing tonight. So in the spirit of this, we're going to give them 3 minutes to do an opening. But you have to understand, we, in my opinion, as the chairman of the Republican Party, are responsible to be vetting our candidates as well as the people. If we indeed are the gold standard, then we have a responsibility to do so. And we have made amendments to our bylaws to do that. We have put in place in our bylaws minimum standards for participation and attendance. You can miss, we have 11 meetings a year, you can miss 3. For extenuating circumstances, David has always been called out. We work with that. Sheriff's been called out. We understand that. But we're trying to set a minimum standard, and then you got to participate in most of the summer events where we try to make money and have our presence. How active have you been is one of our questions. Because the people that band together, that make Republicans become elected, have a vested interest in this, as you do, and we appreciate your time. So with that, I just want to set the table that we have made some administrative decisions. We had a prior commissioner that was out working for the other team, and our bylaws allow censure. And we censured that commissioner for a period of 5 years, from February 25 to February 30. Lack of party loyalty, lack of anything but working for the other team, overtly and overtly. We mentioned Monica Jones, our assessor. She chose to support Democrats, and accordingly we censured her. And she has lost her standing and her vote in the Central Committee. Now she's elected, that provides her an automatic slot in the Central Committee. We can't deny her that. We're not denying anyone coming to these forums. But you need to know that, because the chairman's job is to enforce the bylaws. So with that, who wants to go first? I'll go first. Break the ice, Wally. Go for it.
Thank you for coming, everybody. We're really happy to have you guys here. As far as performing in front of a bunch of people, I'm a retired Division I baseball umpire. Now, I've performed in front of thousands of people, albeit they've been behind a fence, right? But the coaches, the players, they're all right there. So handling things is not a big deal. I hope I can convey to you who I am in the next 3 minutes real quick. I have three issues that I really enjoy talking about as a conservative individual. And that is limited government. I believe we've got plenty of stuff going on right now, plenty of committees, plenty of all kinds of stuff, plenty of laws. We just need to function within those laws and do our job with what we have going right now. There's been brought up a possibility of hiring a grant writer. I think it's a great idea. I don't want that grant writer to be hired by the county. I want that grant writer to work pro bono on the grants that writer can get us. Much like my career has been for the past 25 years as a real estate broker. If I don't go to the closing table, I don't get a check. I think there's so much more involved in keeping a county employee, not just their salary, but everything that goes along with what it costs to have that county employee. So that's one scenario where I would like to keep government at a minimum. And that's just the conservative Republican way to do things. The second is personal responsibility. I don't have to tell you guys here about personal responsibility. You're here. You're personally responsible for what's going on in this county. And you've come here to see what's going on so that we can talk to you folks and tell you who we are. And you've taken it upon yourself to do that. Let's say you have a neighbor whose property is a mess. Grab a couple neighbors, go over, introduce yourself to them, maybe help that person clean up his property. It's going to instill in him a little bit of confidence in his property, and think of the community that you'll be, bonding with these 3, 4, 5 people that come and work like that. We do that all the time. My wife and I go down to the historical society. We work 3, 4 hours pulling weeds, raking grass, just because it's a great thing to do. And we met some people there who had their kids, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old kids doing that. So they've learned that right out of the chute. It's extremely important. And then taxes. I'm not a tax and spend kind of guy. The life you exchange for the taxes you pay is your money, and it should stay with you and belong to you. So those 3 situations, those 3 issues are very paramount in my life, and it's because of the conservative party that I belong to. Was that my time?
You're good. Right on 3 minutes.
Okay. And I'll questions. I'll take questions as soon as these wonderful folks here are done.
Who wants to flip the coin next? Ahmed? We'll let you.
We saved the best for last.
Yes. So my name is Ahmed Susic, and I'm running for sheriff. Short history. I feel like I'm broken record saying what I've done and where I'm going with this. Been in law enforcement for the last 24 years. Worked through the ranks from the police officer, chief of police. Currently working for Summit County Sheriff as a patrol sergeant, training and whatever comes my way. My 3 things that I'm going to be focusing in my term is going to be recruitment, retention, fiscal responsibility, and like we all talk here, it's mental health. Besides all my statutory responsibility, as a fire warden, having civil services, being able to maintain the jail, providing public safety and protecting your constitutional rights, that's my major goal. Those are the things that we need to focus on. I've been in law enforcement. I've seen stuff being done the right way and stuff being done the wrong way. Everybody has a different approach. What we need to focus on, like I said, is providing public safety for the entire county. My major goal within the first year will be providing this community with 24/7 coverage. I'm notorious for bringing up the 48-hour shifts. Greg used to work with me when we started this. It was a hard time. The budget was slim. We worked through it. I'm proud to say that my major goal was to take care of my patrol officers, and working in Summit County, that's always hard, especially for the town of Blue River that doesn't have any business, okay? They're all property tax funded. Sounds familiar with Park County? So working the grants, like Wally said, hiring a grant writer. I can tell you when I started, I wrote the grants. Nice thing about the state and federal grants, you can always reach to somebody and they will help you through it. Was it always successful? No, it wasn't. But I brought money necessary to fill the gaps or shortages in my budget. I'm very conservative. I believe in rule of law. I believe that well-trained deputies depend on their leaders, and their leaders should be doing 3 things: providing purpose, direction, motivation to accomplish that common goal, and encouraging others to solve their own problems. So we don't need to police here and be heavy duty. Do we have issues in this county? Absolutely. There's no place in the United States that doesn't have issues. But having patrol deputies, command staff, who is willing to step in if we don't have the shortages. My wife knows the best how many birthdays and everything else I miss. I was the one, when we didn't have a coverage, to suit up and work the street. And that's the best part of my job. And that's why I'm still doing my job.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cindy, you have the floor.
Oh, thank you. So a little bit about me. I have a degree in accounting and worked for federal services straight out of college. Well, as an auditor. And then after being a bank auditor for about 2.5 years, I went to work for federal services and wrote multi-million-dollar bids for Hanford and Los Alamos, both of which we won. Then came my kids, and I decided to stay home with my kids and homeschool them, which was a major challenge with 4 different kids, different abilities, 4 different grades. But it was wonderful, wonderful times with them. And then I went back into the workforce. I went to work for a company called Covenant Commercial Contractors. I was asked to come and be their site supervisor, and I built 7-Elevens and strip malls, supervising all the different people that we had, different nationalities, different, whether some didn't communicate in English. That was kind of a challenge, but we got the buildings done and we were very successful, and that was a lot of fun. Then I went to work at the airport. They laid me off because they closed their offices. I went to work for the airport into customer service, and became a customer service for United Airlines, and then to American Airlines and into the Admirals Club, where I worked for 10 years. And during that time, then I got my real estate license, and I've been a realtor for 12 years. And the reason I want to do this job, the main reason, is I want to see the employees that I supervise gain as much knowledge as they possibly can to be the best that they can be, to be able to have another career when they want to leave, when they want to go somewhere else, a career that can go with them no matter what state they go to. I'd also like them to have the best time of their lives coming to work. I believe in having an environment that's healthy, not toxic, and that's a lot of fun, that they have camaraderie. And that's what I would like to see with them. And to have a true sense of family, true sense of who they are and self-worth, and not put anybody down no matter what. The second reason I want Park County residents to understand their assessed value, their market value, and how the tax is formulated. I want them to trust the data because the data is going to be accurate. It's not going to be favorable to any one person. If I like this person, I'm not going to give them a better valuation. They're going to get the same valuation as everybody else. You know, it's going to be based on data. It's going to be based on facts. And the third reason is I want to be able to treat everybody that comes into that office with respect and dignity, to meet somebody who's willing to sit down and help them. And especially our seniors, I don't expect seniors to be able to understand a lot of the stuff. I have a mom who's a senior who would never be able to figure anything out here. And I want to be there for those types of people who can't make that, understand that decision or what's going on.
Perfect. Very good. Any questions you'd like to ask? I have, Dave had his top 10 David Letterman list here. So basically, you guys have kind of addressed this. So in your private life over the last 4 years, what were your best accomplishments? And I'll leave that up to you guys. Start with Ahmed. Yeah. He was getting ready to stand
I
up.
have a question.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be asking your questions or are you gonna ask me?
I'm just gonna ask 2 of mine, and we're gonna ask the rest of yours. It's just that I got a couple in here that are just senior stuff.
Well, my biggest accomplishment in the last 4 years, I left my chief job because Summit County offered me a job that I couldn't refuse, and I had 2 kids in college. So I paid for their college. One just graduated with a master's degree in health administration. The other one is accountant. And guess what? They don't have any student loans. We pay for everything so they can start their life without any debt. That was my biggest accomplishment. The other one is be married to my wife. She was going through some health issues. Being able to find the right medication and to continue our journey through this life and be there for our kids. I think for every parent, that's the biggest accomplishment we can ask for.
Great, thanks. Andy, how about you? What were yours in the last one?
That's tough. I don't say these as accomplishments, but these are things that happened. My dad passed away. I was there before he did. I was able to support him as he was passing. I was there to be with my mom. I was there to take her and dad up to his burial site in Minnesota. I was there to be with family, to, make all those decisions that needed to be made. And it's not something I ever wanted to do, but I did it. And then be able to fly out again on his anniversary, which was just last month. And it's tough. And mom's always calling me, so I feel like my accomplishments has always been there, calling mom's Walmart order in, calling and for any, stoves and stuff that she needs me to get sent over and get everybody taken care of. And I've just been there for my kids as well. They've all gone through some major transitions. My daughter has an autoimmune disease that was, at the time she was diagnosed, gave her 5 to 6 years to live. So I had moved to Houston. Wally stayed here, and I lived with them and saw her through that first year of transition, trying to figure out the medication she would need, and be there for her support emotionally and mentally. And she's doing great, by the way, now. Still not over that autoimmune, but they have it under control. And I have just built such a good relationship with her and her husband. My other kids, I have a good relationship with them too, but there is a stronger bond or a special bond with them. And then being here to really support my husband. I mean, he really, really wants this commissioner job. And so that's how all of this started. And, I said, okay, I'll be there. And then I was asked to consider becoming the assessor, and then that became a passion. So just doing the two things together and just working together side by side has just been a joy.
Thanks for that. Wally.
Excuse me for just a minute, Eric. That was, man, that was amazing. We have 5 kids, and they are all reasonably well educated, right? None of them live at home. That's an accomplishment. They're all out on their own, doing their own thing. We're pretty proud of that. And I just love Park County so much. I was here 60 years ago with the Boy Scouts with my dad, and we camped, fished. We went all the way down to New Mexico on 285 and back, and it's just been a desire for me to be here. I just love it here. We stayed away from I-70, all the skiing, all the busy stuff over there. This is an amazing county here, and I just love walking outside, looking at the trees, listening to the animals. We have elk that come through our yard. We have to take the hummingbird feeders down at night because the bears come and get them. It's just an awesome place to live. And the fact that, for the last 3.5, 4 years, we've been up here full time has just been amazing. That's been the best thing in the last 5 years for me. Well,
Okay. Who's gonna ask some more?
I've got some questions from the audience. So first I am going to go to a Met Sheriff candidate. This came from somebody in the room. All of your law enforcement experience comes from Summit County. What makes you think the things that work there will work in Park County? Thank you.
Well, Summit County is a resort community. Didn't used to be. I've seen a lot of changes in Summit County, whether it's the leadership, whether it's law enforcement, how they approach the stuff. I can tell you there were some bad and good choices they made it. They deal with the mountain community just like we deal it here. Most of the people who are working in Summit County, guess where they're coming from? They're commuting from Park County because of the better pay. I don't blame anybody for that. All right, what we can learn from their lesson is what I will bring here and what will work here is investing in our biggest asset, and that's in the sheriff's office, and those are the deputies. That's my recruitment and retention. We need to up their pay, whether it's through the grants, whether it's through reallocating budget right now, and making sure that we don't have a revolving door, that we train the deputies here, within a year or two, they're leaving. And I just want to let you know, I honor every of those deputies working in Park County. For the pay they're doing it, they must have loved their job. And I'm really fortunate to live here. The coverage and everything else, everybody's going to be crying about it. Like I said, there's a new idea, there's a new approach to provide that much needed and necessary 24/7 coverage. So those are the things that I learned in Summit County because they do treasure their employees. I'm not going to tell you that Summit County Sheriff's Office, Frisco PD, or Blue River PD are organizations that don't have problems. I can tell you every law enforcement organization in the United States has their own set of problems. It's how you attack them and what solutions you bring to the table.
Thank you, Ed. Just set the table a little bit. We're gonna allow them so we can get through these questions for you. We're gonna give them 2 minutes, okay? You want us to answer?
Sure.
That was 2 minutes, that's good.
Okay, this one is for Raleigh Commissioner candidate. Please explain why you ran in District 2, but are now running in District 3. Where do you live?
You bet, absolutely. I'm a resident of Indian Mountain, that's District 3. 4 years ago, the Republican Party did not have a person to run in that district, in the Bailey district. So what I did was, of my own volition, my own monetary scenario, I moved to Bailey. Lived there for a year, qualified to run for commissioner. 2 weeks before assembly, Jason Gemmer decided he wanted to run. Great candidate. We had a lot of things in common. We duked it out, and we even supported each other during our campaigns, and we agreed to support each other, whoever would win the primary and go on against the Democratic candidate. So that's scenario. That's exactly what happened. Did that answer the question? So I live in Park County. I have for.
In Como.
I'm sorry?
In Como.
Yeah, Park County. My address is Como, Indian Mountain Metropolitan District. I've owned that home for 29 years. Okay, so I've been a taxpayer here for 29 years. Been wanting to get up here, and like I said, finally did it about 3.5, 4 years ago.
Right, and I've got a question for Cindy, the assessor candidate. Tell us about yourself. Why are you the best candidate for the job of assessor?
I believe I'm the best candidate because, one, I'm a really good leader. The people that have worked for me before, or even people that are cohorts, want me to always lead. They always want me to make those decisions. I am able to make those decisions, but I'm also a leader that encourages, one that comes alongside and really helps them. And I really believe that the people there need the education. They aren't getting the education that they want. It's very inexpensive for them to go up into Summit County to get the training that they need. There's not a huge expense. You know, they go up, they drive over, they go to the class, then they can come back. They need to be the best they can be. And currently, there's only one certified appraiser in the office. So to hire out contract workers is not something that takes a huge amount of the budget. You need to have people in-house that can do the work that are doing the work, and we need to get them to the point where they can do that. Now, granted, to begin with, we probably would have to hire somebody who has that certification, but we can hire them versus contract work them.
Thank you. No, I was just, let's go through these.
Okay, let's see.
These are better than mine.
Sheriff candidate, can you, demonstrate a factual basis for your post on Facebook within the past 24 hours, specifically 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. coverage and law enforcement arrests, bad handwriting, whoever. Anyway, you probably know what you put on Facebook. I don't do social media, so.
Well, there was multiple posts. This is the one where we presented the facts about the budget, what would cost to open the jail. This is all factual. I requested a CORA request, Colorado Open Records request, through the county. And I was specific. I wanted to know, because I talked to sheriff during the Park County Republican Committee meeting, how much it would cost to open the jail. What I got, it was about $100,000, which is not the same amount that I got through the CORA request. It's up to $700,000. That's what we got from the facilities, and estimated cost to maintain the jail for 2026 is almost $3 million. I'm saying that's their estimate. So there's a huge difference here in statements made and what I'm getting from official sources. So those are the things that are factual that I put out there. Does that answer the question?
How about working 9, where you're able to cover 24 hours?
Oh,
coverage?
24/7 coverage. Like I said, I brought to Blue River 48-hour shift. All right, my officer worked 48-hour shifts. That gave us a coverage for somebody being in that town 24/7. We timed it. It's nothing different than the firefighters, although this is not a firefighter schedule. This is how the Swiss Mountain Police operates in Europe. So with that being said, creation of the 3 districts in Park County would solve that problem. Having district that will cover the 3 deputies, Hartselle, Guffey, and Lake George. That will be one of the districts. They'll be working 48 hours, and they're going to be spending that time in their districts. And the other districts are, of course, Fairplay from the Trout Creek down to Kenosha, and existing one in Bailey from Kenosha down to Pine. So that's how we're going to solve that issue. Response time, when they're on call, it's usually between 7 to 15 minutes. I think 7 to 15 minutes is still manageable. Better than if we have a call in Guffey to send somebody from Fairplay over there, or from Bailey. Depends how many deputies we have working at a given time. In addition to that, we need to strategically approach this. We need to make sure that we know how many calls we get during the night. So criminal statistics are done in every department. I can't tell you how many calls for service Park County has or what the crime rate is in Park County because they're not submitted to the CBI.
Okay, Commissioner question. How will you visibly support the Sheriff's Office to fund the jail and financially incentivize deputy retention?
That's for me?
That's for Commissioner.
Yeah.
Okay. One more time, if you would, please.
How will you visibly support the Sheriff's Office to fund the jail and financially incentivize deputy retention?
Well, let me jump to the jail situation. Right now, the commissioners have said that there is a $694,000 bill to get the jail running. I don't know if that's in the budget. I don't think it's in the budget. I know we've heard anything from 100, 200,000. We've heard that there's been money taken away from the jail. I know the money that was not given to the jail was for mental health, and if we don't have any prisoners in the jail, there's no reason to have a mental health bill because there's no inmates in the jail. 63, 64 cents on every dollar goes to the sheriff's department. I support them 100%. They deserve that money. Although I know that there can be some money saved, and I think Ahmed has some pretty good plans to make that happen. So my support of the sheriff is 100% all the time. It just needs to be run in a proper fashion to where we can get these deputies the pay that they deserve, the pay that they need. And he's got some great ideas on cutting budgets and still making that happen. And what was the third part, if you would?
That was it. It was just those two.
I didn't hear.
All right,
Just
so,
those two.
Okay.
you want me to just ask one more? One more is, and this is to all three candidates, what is your relationship with the county manager?
I go first.
Sure, just go down the line there.
Yeah. My relationship with the county manager, I know that my wife works for the Park County, so that's how I know county manager. So shy of that, relationship is like with everybody else. Nothing different than I have with sheriff. So.
My relationship with the county manager is I have seen him. I've talked to him. I've gone to the county meetings and he's been up there and he's spoken. And but to that, I don't have a huge relationship with him outside, but I would consider him my friend.
My relationship is strictly business. We've met 3 or 4 times. I've asked him a few questions. We say hi to each other if I'm ever in there signing in, signing out, going doing in my license plates and whatnot. But as far as a personal relationship with Mr. Meyer, there really isn't one.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Another one, I think this can go to at least the sheriff and the commissioner candidate. Probably not so pertinent for assessor, but if you want to chime in, please do. Grants are important. Do you plan on grant funding, or are you experienced with grant writing? And I would add in grant management, reporting management after the
Yes.
fact.
Yes. Well, I'm fortunate to have Gary Rhodes be on my side, and I've chosen him to be under sheriff. That's something unheard of, that somebody who is running for sheriff would choose that from the get-go. We had a conversation with some grant writers from the fire districts who are willing to help us. I will definitely go for the grants. I've done it before, and that's not going to change. And I'm going to tell you why. Right now, Post has a $3.5 million grant that we can utilize right now to certify every deputy in Park County through police officer standard training. In addition to this, in August, Prop 130 is coming alive. That's a $350 million that got approved by the voters in the state of Colorado. They can be utilized for recruitment and retention. So even if we get those deputies who are working right now in detentions, to get them post certified and kind of introduce them to the patrol side of it, cross commission, patrol deputy helping in the jail deputy helping on a patrol, win-win for the county. That's why I stand on the grants.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm in favor of grants. I'm not a grant writer. I don't know if a commissioner has time to write grants. I will certainly help out any way I can, maybe talk about some grants. One thing you have to be careful of is you want to make sure that the cost of having that grant doesn't use up the money in the grant. You got to manage that grant. You might have to hire other people. You want to be careful of the grants you pick. But I think a grant writer that works on commission, just like I have for the past 25 years as a real estate broker, is the way to go. It keeps you honest, it keeps you hopping, it keeps you in front of things. You know, what you do this month, you glean 2-3 months down the road. If I don't have any business this month, it's because of something I didn't do 2-3 months in the past. So I think a commission scenario as opposed to another public employee would be my preference.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, here's another one that can go through all three candidates. What would you change in the current budget? So this is the sheriff department budget. Commissioner, it's the whole shooting match, the whole county budget, and then Cindy, the assessor budget. You guys can each speak.
So I can't speak for Ahmed's budget?
You can if you want to.
I'm
You
not gonna
can.
put any restrictions on you guys.
Well, I'll jump in real quick. As Dave said earlier, the commissioners sort of manage all the different groups. You know, Ahmed's a group, everybody else has their group, and we try to keep everybody, you know, as fluid as we can, giving them the money that they've been granted, so to speak. And that's the commissioner's job, is to make sure that those monies do happen. There are some federal grants that we don't have any control over. Federal money comes, it stays. One of the things as a commissioner that I'm looking to do is work with other counties that are in the same position we are. An example would be the situation for the roads that we have. There's two areas that talk about the money we get for roads. One is the number of vehicles registered and the number of center line miles in the county. And it's 80-20 registered vehicles to center line miles. That doesn't help us much because we've got a lot of space and we don't have a lot of cars. So that's got to be changed in Denver at the Golden Dome. So if I can get a group of counties going down to the Golden Dome and talk to those people to try to flip that, boy, that would be amazing. Have it 80-20 the other way. Even a 50-50 split would give us the money for the road situation. So it's a management situation for a commissioner in total on the budget, as opposed to something individual like Ahmed and the different groups that need to manage their budgets as well. And that's what we as commissioners look at. And I don't want to do it by raising taxes. I want to do it the way Ahmed wants to do it. Find different ways to save more money. I think all the groups in the county can do that, and we can have the money to make that happen.
Right on 2 minutes, good job.
Oh, with the budget, correct me if I'm wrong, Sheriff's Office budget property tax fluctuated somewhere between low 60 to upper 60% of the property tax that comes in the county. Well, my first agenda would be to cap that right below 60% so it doesn't fluctuate anymore, and heavily rely on those 20% the Sheriff's Office gets from the sales tax. I can tell you that sales tax initiative failed twice on a ballot in this county. I don't want to pay more taxes. I'm going to tell you that right now. Reallocating the budget from the jail, utilizing people who are already working detentions to create community service officer. They're all deputized, so they can enforce the county code. And getting that money towards operational budget where we can increase the salaries and benefit for the deputy would be my first goal. So capping out the property tax, not going up anymore, fluctuating up and down. Because if they're fluctuating up and down, what do we do? With the sales tax, we're going to offset that. So you got a certain amount, and this is what you're going to work with. All right?
What sales tax?
You got a sales tax right now.
Short-term rental?
Short-term rental. Yeah. So you're getting right now for this year, Sheriff's Office got almost what? over $800,000 in the short-term rental tax?
Oh,
I don't think so.
no.
Well, what was it last year? 340?
I believe it was about 220.
Yeah. So, but it's gradually exceeding. And you and I talked about it, and it's like we need to increase the sales tax. We need to increase this. The trend is in state of Colorado.
Sales tax.
It's a sales tax on every.
It's a short-term rental tax. I'm sorry. Okay. With a short-term rental tax, I think that we can take that money and we can be wise with it, put it towards operational budget so we can increase the salaries. All right. So I know you have other operational expenses like vehicles. And we may agree and disagree on everything or anything, but I don't think that is wise for the sheriff's office to not even purchase but lease the cars. Because you're locked in a lease for 4 years, over $400,000 or around $400,000. And after 2 years, how many miles are on those vehicles? Clearly over 100,000 easily, close to 200,000. You cannot get rid of those cars because you're locked in the lease for 4 years. Good thing is you get those cars for $1 after 4 years, but they're miled out. The maintenance and everything else costs money. That's what I'm talking about of being wise.
And I have the budget question?
Yeah.
All right. As far as I have some understanding of what's happened with the budget, not a clear understanding, but I do know that the assessor's office hires appraisers, contractors to go out and do the work that the staff is not capable of doing. And again, going back to training, I would like all of the people to get to the point where we don't have to hire contractors, so we can get rid of that $500,000 that went out for contract work and get the employees up and running to be able to do that. Now, granted, it might take hiring somebody at a higher pay that knows and can supervise so they can get those certificates, but that would be my budget plan, is to reduce the amount of contracts we have going out and keep it in-house as best we can, as long as the numbers make sense.
Thank you.
All right, and I have one more that I think is pertinent, is mainly for sheriff candidate, actually two. This one, it's what will the county do about encampments outside of land use regulations without permits and violating basic sanitation? Now, I'm going to just preface this. Sheriff's Department currently does not handle code enforcement, but you can still address the issue if you would like to.
Yeah, okay. So this is something that's not strange to us. Who've been in law enforcement, currently working in the Summit County Sheriff's Office. We are tasked with the enforcement, more persuasive speech than anything else, regarding encampment, regarding STRs, short-term rentals, and everything else. So if they're not meeting our county code, part of the sheriff's job is to enforce that code. Yet there has to be a process. And I think the sheriff's office should be working hand in hand with the development services. And they do have a code enforcement and development services, am I right? So going out with those code enforcement officers, providing extra security and everything else. If they need to be served the summons, there's a process. It should be probably going to the county attorney's office. And when the summons is issued with the proper paperwork, we can serve that. That's part of our job, which means we will be working with the other departments in the county. That's plain simple. Part of our job is not just to enforce the state law, but to enforce the county ordinances as well.
Okay, just stay standing.
Okay.
We have 2 more questions for you, so you're in the hot spot. It has been said that Park County has no crime. Do you agree? CBI is still showing no crime.
All right, Park County definitely has a crime. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the uniform crime reporting. There was a mandate that went out nationwide to include every law enforcement agency, including the tribal police, which means every month we submit our crime stats to CBI, which are then forwarded to FBI, to national database, and that's how you apply for the grants and you justify your existence. As of right now, there is no reporting being done by the current administration. So we love to joke and say, in Park County, we defeated the crime. The sad truth is, we did not. So it's very important to have those crime data. I talked earlier about the criminal statistics. If you have that crime data, you can pinpoint your hot spot, where the crime occurs, so you can adjust your enforcement to the data-driven crime statistics.
All right, and no.
Still?
You stay there.
Wow, I'm not gonna sit down anymore.
Let's see, the last one, no, this is the last one that we got in here. Where will you recruit new deputies and how will you retain them?
Great question. Where would I recruit deputies? Well, Park County has a huge law enforcement community. People who are actually raising their kids, and they have homes here, but they don't work here. Part of that, salaries. You have to feed the family. That's pretty simple. Well, with the savings on the jail side, short-term rental taxes going in, I'm not saying that I'm gonna match Summit County pay, Breckenridge PD pay, Dillon or Frisco, but we can get close to it. And with the right mind and the leadership, I can tell you, most of those people I have trained throughout my career, they'll be willing to switch the ship and come and work where they live. So that's my plan for the recruitment and retention. Keeping them, having a clear plan, what we call it 5-year step programs, where they know where they're gonna be in 5 years. They know how much they're gonna be in 5 years, how much they're making. Can they afford to live here? That's what my focus is gonna be on recruitment and retention. We have a huge community from Pine down to Bailey, and needless to say, South Park. Because I know how many officers and deputies are commuting every day over the Hoosier Pass, or they're going the other side to Jefferson County, or down to Chaffee County, BV, or whatever. So that's my plan. I hope that answers your question.
All right, thank you.
I'm going to write a practice. Okay. Why are red tag inspections not followed up and violations answered?
That's a code enforcement, development services question, so,
I think. Okay, that's the questions you have from you all. Do you have any questions that you'd like to ask from the floor that weren't asked yet tonight? We can just do that. David?
Well, I would love to hear it. This is the first time I've heard it tonight. I had never heard of a commission-based grant writer that's been successful. In our discussions with coroners all over the country, it's always when they bring in an employee. So I'd love to hear what you know more about that, because I've not heard of this.
Well, it's sort of a philosophy that I've had for the past 25 years. If I didn't go to a closing, I didn't get a check. I think it's something we need to explore. I don't know if there are those, grant writers that do that. I would think if a grant writer is good, can write grants left, right, that would be to his advantage. The harder you work, the more money you make. I think that's something we should explore right now.
Sure. Well, based on my experience with grant writing, it's not only that you have to write the grant, it receive the grant funding, but it's also the administration of the grant. So most commission-based grant systems do not support the administration of the grant unless they're being funded for that as well. So then under commission grant writing, that takes up a large sum of monies versus if you have an in-house grant writer who is also administering the grant monthly, quarterly, and annually.
If that's indeed the case, then
Yes, but you got to report success in your grant writing. You know what I'm saying? You got to meet your benchmarks and so on and so forth quarterly and so on and so forth. So my question would be: is you have a county administrator? Why isn't your county administrator administrating grants?
Just clarification, we've had through our Council of Governments in El Paso, like Speak Area Council of Governments, they had funded a grant writer that rotated within the 3 counties, and it's been beneficial to us. That's who helped work on the grants that we have submitted, and that was a blessing to us, and it was a resource we hadn't had.
and we have internal grant administration. So once a grant is received, normally it's put on focus by the department specific with whatever support they need. I've supported other departments in helping to write grants. I've actually written a grant myself and got the grant for $850,000. And then we've got internal structure that follows up, tracks it, has the calendar, does the reporting. So we're pretty well set up. It's just that with every grant you've got to weigh, is it worth the grant itself, the money, and the cost to administer, just because everyone is different. So, no?
With my office, I had applied for several grants, and one was for 36,000 for all the cameras, and for the ballot box out front, which was 3,500. So I am out there getting grants.
Election security with her.
Dave, real quickly.
Sure.
As a commissioner, I would be more than happy to learn that trade and make it happen. I think there's the hours there for it. You know, it's going to be a 40, 50, 60 hour a week job sometimes. And if I can make that happen, absolutely.
Other questions?
Yes.
Sure.
Mr. Well, I have a severe concern that you felt it was okay to go from where you live in District 3, you said you've owned a house up for quite a while, that you thought it was okay to rent a house in District 2 and run for that county commissioner's position just because you've heard that there was not anybody running, but yet Jason Gemmer did run. I just have a severe concern that you think that's okay to go outside your district and rent a house, which according to what's on the website, we actually rented the back room of a house to run for commissioner.
Well, you know, when we talk about this, we refer to that lovingly as doing the Hillary Clinton scenario.
Democrat. We're Republicans here, sir.
You're right. This whole thing was run through the city attorney. It went to the high levels, and everybody said that I could run. I was doing it for the Republican Party. Okay? I was doing it for us.
And you think that's okay?
So that we would have a representative in that district as a Republican, so that we wouldn't lose it to the Democrats. Pretty simple.
Let me jump in as chairman.
Sir, we're talking to these people that are running.
I'm going to address the question, because I was involved in. Would you just stop a minute and listen? You have a hard time doing it, so let's try.
Oh, I know.
Okay. We had 2 Democrats supported by Republicans that formerly ran this party. They were going to be on the ballot. We did not have a candidate for District 2. Wally volunteered to go establish residency, which he did, and qualified to run in that seat. Now, you don't like it, that's fine. Jason Gemmer stepped up, contemplated it, decided to run after Wally announced, came in, won the primary, and that's what the people selected. That's what happened 2 years ago. That was designed so that if we hadn't had a candidate, that Democrat would walk into that office with no opposition. So the goal was that we would have a candidate and a bona fide candidate. And with that, if I haven't answered your question, please continue, Chair.
I'm done.
Okay. Anybody else?
I have a question.
Sure.
When I was doing the questions, I looked at the Facebook post that was referred to today, and it looks like there was an attempt to post information on deputies getting bonuses from short-term rentals. It seemed like the post was shaming the deputies. So my question is how do you resolve deputy retention, recruitment, and pay by making a post like that? And quite frankly, that attempted redaction domains putting a piece of paper over it that people can see through, not helpful.
Absolutely. So it wasn't directed to the deputies. If you look,
That's what it appears.
Yeah.
That's what I took it as when I read it.
oh, okay. So I'm sorry that it came out that way. But what was attempted was that command staff who's getting higher bonuses than anybody else. Okay, there's 3 people in command. We know who they are. I'm not going to bring the names. Okay, so with that being said, what is the policy right now in the sheriff's office to distribute those bonuses?
But my
Is it-
question is, you posted this without having that information, so you put something out to the public that looks for the deputies like, oh, do I want to work for this person who is shaming me for getting these bonuses that are approved of?
who
Without,
they are?
without all of the information, because it sounds like you don't have all of the information that you needed before you made this post, and that's my question, is that the type of leader that the deputies that currently exist here want to see come November, come January?
January. Well, the thing that I posted are the numbers, the public records. Who is making what? So if I am an exempt employee for the county, that's a command staff, sheriff, undersheriff, lieutenant, captains, commanders, whatever case might be. What is the reasoning giving exempt employees bonuses when you have deputies who are struggling to make meet ends every month? So what is the point of giving command staff bonuses? And why they are getting the biggest bonus compared to other deputies who are working the streets here? That was my full intent.
Well, I think your intent might have been,
And I do apologize for that. Okay.
we're done.
Okay, you guys want to have a closing? You want to have any closing comments?
Sure.
Well, why don't I give you a couple minutes to do that, and then we'll mingle. If you have questions afterwards, we'll mingle, and then last one out for the cat out, something like that. Okay?
So my closing is basically, I really want to make sure that everybody's taxes here are fair, accurate, equitable, that nobody's getting any benefit, because I know, let's say I know Amy and I really like Amy, and I want to give her a really good deal, so I'm going to reduce her tax assessment to give her a good deal. That's not something that I will do. And I want everyone to have fair and equitable taxes. And I want to work with everybody here. I want everybody to be able to come into the office and be greeted by a friendly face. Somebody knows, somebody who's going to sit down, explain everything, and you'll walk out of there feeling like you got what you wanted when you came in that office. You got the answers you needed. And your taxes might not be what you want them to be, but at least you'll understand how they got there, and that they were fair and they were equitable, and that no one else is getting special treatment, but you're getting the treatment that everybody else is, and we're doing the best we can. And believe me, if we could reverse Gallagher, I would be reversing it. Anything I can do to get some caps put in place, so these rates that we have, it's astronomical what people are paying right now. And so I think everybody voted to repeal, not everybody, but the majority voted to repeal Gallagher. And if I could be part of the group that gets something involved that sets something else in place, that there's some kind of cap that doesn't allow your taxes to go up at the rates they're going up, that would be a big plus for me. That would be my goal.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
Christine, you go ahead. You're already up.
Like I said in the beginning, when I launched this campaign, it's going to be transparency and accountability. If you have a transparency, you don't get questions like this that we have to answer. Accountability is holding everybody to higher ethical and professional standards. That's going to be my goal. What I bring to this, with Gary Rhodes as my undersheriff, when we don't have deputies, I will be out there. And I'm not playing with this. I pledge that I will be out covering the road. I will be out responding to calls. And the reason for that is I live here. This is where I raise my kids. This is my community, just like it is yours. Creating a civilian review boards and being open about what's going on and bringing facts into conversation would dissolve bunch of the issues that we have currently in Park County. So that's what I'm gonna run my campaign on, and this is how I'm gonna lead people working with me. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Wally.
Yeah, thanks, everybody. I appreciate you being here. I'll just reiterate my 3 issues: limited government, personal responsibility, and no new taxes. I'm a resident. I love this place. I want to finish it here. It's a 40, 50 hour a week job. My real estate business will go on ice. I'm here for the county. If I can write grants, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Full-time job. Call me, ask me any questions anytime you need an answer. I'll talk to you. My door is always open. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I also want to recognize our coroner, our clerk, and our clergy, and our sheriff for being with us tonight. And thank you all, everybody, for coming tonight. We will be in Saturday at the Lutheran Church in the Copper Hill Bailey area. And look on our website, you'll have a flyer of all the rest of the 6 meetings we have left. Thank you all. Be safe.